Hi, I'm attorney Vincent Davis, and I've been fighting CPS for over 35 years. Through my years of experience, I've gained invaluable insights that I'm ready to share with you. If you're a parent or a caregiver or a relative, we need to talk. I'm offering a new opportunity for you to speak with me on a one-on-one basis. Ask me any questions, and I'll provide you with the insight you need to take steps in your CPS case. Members get everything they need to gain confidence and the knowledge that they need to support necessary to truly fight back. And as a special thank you for attending, I have a special offer just for you. Don't miss out, join us, and let's take that next step together. I'll see you at the question and answer event.
Good evening and welcome. I have a persistent phone caller, but I'm starting my podcast here at 7 o'clock this evening. I'm Bob Pace, and I want to welcome you. How to fight CPS and how to stop taking your children. Good evening. Yeah, I'll be right with you. I've just started my podcast at 7 o'clock. And I have to go over some ground rules, so bear with me a little bit. It'll probably be about a minute or two. I'll be right with you. You're probably the guy from Maine, right?
Yes, I am.
You bet. I remember you. Okay, I want to welcome to all you people that found my podcast. I'm found on Facebook, How to Fight CPS, and it's Bob Pace. And I have 4 ways that you can interact with this podcast. As you heard, one way is just answering the call in. And we have the gentleman from Maine who was talking to me this morning, and we'll get together with his case. Now, the step 1, you can be just in this room only. And being in this room, you can listen and take notes. Also, you can do emojis like thumbs up, hearts, and smiley faces. Also, you can send me stars, which is much appreciated. Furthermore, if you want to follow my podcast, check the subscribe button below. Or if you want to be notified when I'm on, check the notification. Now, the second way that you can participate with this podcast is you can type comments. And these comments or questions are about CPS. Please show your name. Your first name is all I need to see. The city or county you're from, the state, and you're from out of the country, your province and your states. Some in Australia, they're states, or and your country. I'm open to everybody around the world about CPS. CPS is the Child Protection System when it calls. It may be different names. I know in Maine it's a different acronym, but the CPS I'm talking about is the one that is the branch of social services that deals with the protection of our children from neglect or abuse, and also to help family needs such as food, shelter, clothing, education for the children, work, and medical. Also, they're supposed to do reunification. If they need to take apart your family because of imminent danger, they're supposed to have a plan of reunification, because the best parents are the biological parents. They are the best parents, and they are the parents that are best to raise the kids. So that's what I call the Child Protection System, abbreviated for short for CPS. I know in Arizona it's Department of Children's Services. In Kentucky, it's the Cabinet. In California, it's the Child Protection Services. But when I say CPS, I mean all of them, no matter what state you're in or from around the world, what it is there. Now, some of the countries I've had call in from is Bangladesh, New Delhi, India. I've had a country in the Middle East that was in Arabic, and I don't know which Arabic country it is. And then I've had the continent of Africa. I've had Liberia in the northwest along the coast, Rwanda in Central East Africa near Lake Victoria, Mozambique across from Madagascar, and the west coast province of South Africa. Then moving up to Europe, I've had England, Scotland, Wales, part of the United Kingdom, and then I've had Denmark and Sweden. Across the pond, I've had North America, I've had Canada, several of the provinces there. I've also had the United States, all 50 states, including Washington, D.C., have either texted or called in. So I've had a good representation of what that is. Furthermore, I've also had the indigenous people, the Indians, the American Native Indians, and then, of course, the First Nation Indians of Canada. And then south of the border, I've had Mexico. And then further south in South America, I had Guyana. On the east coast, opposite Venezuela, north of Brazil. And then across the Pacific, I've had Australia. And Australia, it's been the east coast at the Gold Coast in the Sydney area. And then I've had the south coast at Melbourne in the state of Victoria. Now, that is the countries that so far, there's about 14 of them. Try to be complete with your case when you first come on. So that way we know a little bit about your case, like what the family situation is, your children, the ages and the sexes, what the allegations were, and then how the children were taken from your home if they were taken, and then where you're at on your case, Now, I just noticed that we have Natalie from West Hollywood, California, called in, and I'm glad to see that you came on tonight. Natalie, I hope you had a wonderful day. She's a single mother of 3 children, and she's been trying to fight to see them. So she really is a very good person, comes out and helps and be in my room all the time. Now, the third way that you can be interactive with this podcast is you can be a guest on my show. To be a guest on my show, all you have to do is contact my show producer. Her name is Grace, and she works really hard behind the scenes. And so I really appreciate all that she does for me and helping me out. We got a lot of rooms back online. We have 7 different rooms that people come from, 7 different places on Facebook. It's all up and running, so we have a lot more traffic now, which is great. Then to schedule a guest, all you need to do is pick one of my 14 shows. I'm on 7 days a week, Monday through Sunday. I'm on in the morning at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time and on the evening at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I do have an exception on Friday that I'm trying to work out the time with my show producer. But there is a different time on Friday. On Sunday, I go to church, and I start at 8 o'clock instead of 10 o'clock, so I can go to church. And so those are the differences, Friday night and Sunday morning. So you just pick those dates, morning or evening, Monday through Sunday. Tell Grace you want to be one of my 14 shows. She'll send you a link, and we use StreamYard as the application. And we broadcast on YouTube. And if you get knocked off, hang on to that link. The link will get you back on. Also, she'll help you to decide, to help you what you can do and not do as a guest, such as no smoking or eating on the show. Welcome, Angelina, Race, and Denrilli. And it's good to have you here. I realize that. What city and state are you from, or country you're from? Angelina, that you could tell me there. Okay, and then after the podcast, she'll contact you, give you the link, and you get on, and she'll tell you about your lighting, your sound, and stuff. The last one is to be on the phone. You can call in at 626-698-0990. And that is my phone number. It's live. I right now have a gentleman from Maine. Your first name again is, go ahead. Israel. Yeah, we had Israel, and he was from on the show this morning, and he's called back again tonight because he wants to finish his case. So with that being said, I'm going to take Israel up, and he can talk further about his case. If I remember correctly, he has 2 boys. He has an 8-year-old and a 14-year-old. The 8-year-old is his child. The 14, he's the stepdad to the 14, but the father has surfaced in the picture and fighting him for custody. He has a wife, his girlfriend. I shouldn't say wife, his girlfriend, who they had the 8-year-old child with, and she was sent to California for drug rehab. She was involved in a car accident, and she was not found at fault, but they did a test for her in the hospital. She tested positive for cocaine. She has used drugs in the past, but supposedly that day she didn't use it, but the police and the CPS are giving Israel a hard time. You want to take it from there, Israel?
Yeah. So after that was all said and done, CPS had ended up coming to the house. I was at work. I get a phone call. My supervisor says they got to call the shop. I call the shop. They told me I have to call, at the time, my girlfriend. I call my girlfriend. She tells me DHS is at the house and I need to come now and quickly. And I told her I gotta work. Like, I can't leave right now. I have to, I just can't just get up and leave work.
Right.
She goes, you have to come. They're telling me right now, if you don't come, they're taking the kids.
They're doing that as you know, to intimidate you and to make jeopardize. You can certainly make a call. It's what happened was your girlfriend let them in the house. They don't need to be in the house unless they have a court warrant.
And they told her they had to let them look in the house or else they were going to take them anyway, and they need to speak to me right away.
Well,
and I told them,
right.
You
have the problem there because you gave permission to come into the house. So you're really fouled up there. So that is wrong for you to jeopardize your job. Your boss, you need to work. You can make another appointment at a neutral site, not the house. Again, they have to have a warrant. They have to have a warrant.
Right, and that's what I told her on the phone. I says, you got legal counsel right now. Did you explain that to them? She goes, yes. I said, well, you tell them that we have a lawyer and you want them present. And they said that they kind of just disregarded that. They said, even though we told them we had legal consultation and we had help, and she told them that too while I was on the phone, it didn't matter. They said I still had to come. We couldn't get in contact with the attorney because we've been paying an attorney for a while now, for probably 8 years, to protect my stepson.
Okay.
This whole time from the father.
Right.
And so, state workers have been involved. They were there the morning of my boy's birth. They were there that morning because of the father making all the calls to do everything under the wind, false claims, everything. I mean, I already went to this lawyer before he even made the first initial statement against us because I was already ready for it. Like I said, we've been doing this ever since the boy was, that's 14 now, ever since he was 4. I've been 5. I raised him since he was 4. I've been in this boy's life longer than his own dad. Now, to get to the other point, so I told him we had legal consultation. They told me, it didn't matter. So my supervisor heard that I had to get to the house because I was, the phone was loud enough for him to hear it. And he's like, if you got to go, he goes, go. He goes, I says, all right, I'll go. So I got there. And, they briefly gave me what they had heard and why they were there, whatever. Basically, it didn't matter if I had an attorney, they said, and I knew better. But, the legal counsel that we had, we couldn't get in contact with. And I'm kind of having that same issue now. I, paid another attorney, 2000, and really, I'm not getting any of the results I'm looking for. They have been pushing. The CPS has been pushing my family around since for the last 10 years. We got $50,000 into this now, probably. This is taken from our family, and financially, every lawyer I've looked, they all want to get paid, and I get it. They don't want to do nothing for free. But when we've been paying all this time, and the state isn't being held responsible for the actions, and when they have proven over the years we've paid, we've seen 4 judges here in Maine on this matter. There's been proven domestic assault in that home. There's been proven assault on the kids, and now the boy's 14, so now he can speak. Now he can speak, and this is the time when he can speak. Now you take our kids from us. Now I believe this whole situation could have been prevented before this even happened. But my wife broke. She's a state worker. She worked for the state of Maine for 17 years. She's an accountant technician, and she worked for Department of Human Service. Okay? She's a very good woman, great woman. She was my rock. Okay? She when I was down, she got me up. And now that's what I'm doing for her. The state's telling me, well, you need to leave. That ain't your house. The house is in her name. The stepchild, because at the time we weren't married. We just got married October 2nd on my birthday. And then after that, she went to California for counsel.
So you're legally married now? You are legally married now?
Now, yeah. Now for
well, then your
birthday,
your attorney can sit there and send in a thing to the court to state you are married and you're very much entitled to be in that home. See, changes are occurring. And as changes are occurring, your attorney notifies the court, and the court makes the decision. Now, I don't know, have you had a chance to read that link I gave you about the guide for parents in Maine?
I haven't. Did you send it to my Gmail?
No, I sent it to a link in the room. I'll do it again. It's called The Guide to Child.
I can't see your room right now because I don't have Wi-Fi.
Oh, okay. Well,
I'm on my phone.
Yeah, you'd have to go to maine.gov /OCFS/support-4/child-welfare. But it's a really great handbook. Not all states have this. And I'm not saying the CPS organization in your state follows the guidebook. That's the habit. They make everything look really good. But they're supposed to respond to valid reports. They're supposed to assess the children's safety. They're supposed to support and preserve families when possible. That's the number one goal in CPS. Families and parents are the best people to raise children. They're supposed to prevent the occurrence or reoccurring of child abuse or neglect. And then it further says, when someone makes a report, it's because a child who has questionable injuries, a young child who's left alone, a child who has untended health care problems or medical needs. That is how someone makes a report. Now, after a report is made, and they give you the number here for the report, they have to investigate within 24 hours initially. And what they do is they come to the home to do the investigation because they may not have a strong case. And that's where you have to tell them that we can meet at a neutral place. Again, you have to have your attorney present. And you meet at a neutral place like Starbucks or McDonald's. And you meet there to discuss the things are. Now, the social workers will notify the parents of their intent to interview children when required by law. So if they're going to interview your children at your school or a loan, they have to notify you. 2, they give parents an opportunity.
They've done that too.
Yeah, I know. This is the things they put in their guidebook. They said,
And they didn't notify us.
no, I understand that. I'm saying they give parents an opportunity to ask questions and get information. The parent or caregiver may choose not to speak with the social worker, which is usually the attorney will sit there and speak through the attorney only. Don't speak through the parents. Contact community professionals, others, even with parents choose not to meet with or speak to social workers. So she would contact her doctor, her insurance doctor, and have drug tests done to see if she tests as positive. Then the social workers determine at the end of the child protection assessment whether the report abuse or neglect is unsubstantiated, indicated, or substantiated. So, is it unsubstantiated, or is it indicated, or substantiated? They got to tell you whether that case was. Those are the 3 buzzwords. Again, they're not going to tell you that. Now, unsubstantiated is more likely than not to no abuse or neglect happened. Indicated means it's most likely than not that low or moderate severity abuse or neglect did happen. And substantiated is more likely than not have high severity abuse or neglect. Now, unsubstantiated reports, what's happened? Social workers tells parents in a letter that the report of abuse is unsubstantiated. Now, the Child Protection Services will keep, our system will keep unsubstantiated records for 18 months. You want to get them off right away because they'll come back to haunt you. It is not no reports received during the 18 months. CPS supposedly would destroy the unsubstantiated report and assessment of that report. And then it tells you about indicated. Which one were you accused of? Substantiated, indicated, or substantiated?
I can't really. I'm not really sure.
They didn't clarify it, and your attorney isn't doing his job. You should ask your attorney, is it unsubstantiated, is it indicated, or substantiated? Now, if it's substantiated, the social worker tells the parents in writing that the report of abuse and neglect has been substantiated, and that the letter also must notify the parents of their right to ask for a review of that decision and how to request that review. 2, a safety plan. If a child is unstable, parents and social workers develop a safety plan together. The social worker reviews the completed plan with the parents to make sure it will keep the child safe. The social worker may also seek services that help the family with their safety plans. Now, the third thing they do with substantiated report is that after the safety plan is in place, the social worker continue working with the family to provide services needed in the family to help make the child safe. This will involve a family team meeting of the social worker and the parents, along with the support, including your attorney, to make a family plan. Then, potential court action happens next. When a safety plan is not enough to protect a child from risk of serious harm, or if a parent chooses not to follow a safety plan, the social worker will consider what other actions are needed to make a child safe. This includes court intervention. Under Maine law, only the courts may order removal of a child from parental care. So they have to have a court order, which is a warrant that your child, that's Maine law. I didn't make up Maine law. And if you have an attorney and you're paying him $50,000, he should know what the Maine law.
He does.
Well, then how did he let them take your child?
Because she was backed up on payments. He wants his money. So he didn't have his money, so now he's done helping her until she pays. He told me today that he would help her, so I had to go hire my own attorney, and she had to get a court appointed. And today, where she's been in California, the first week they call it blacklisted, where she can't talk to anybody. The court appointed told her that she was only going to have today, that she was only going to have a she wasn't going to have to do today. But that was incorrect. They still proceeded her with the 8-year-old. I guess she agreed to some terms. I don't know what she agreed to. I don't know what she signed. I wasn't able to talk to her. But then the lawyer I have, she's had to get in contact with. I can't call her when I need her. There's always an excuse. Then when we're at court today, the judge, you could see the judge wasn't happy. You could see the social worker wasn't happy. The DHS wasn't happy because they wanted me to agree to what they have in writing, that I was neglectful of keeping my son safe because she was in an accident and I allowed her to drive with my son.
Right,
Okay.
because you knew that she may have done drugs in the past. But the drug report, was it the day that she was taken to the hospital? Did they have a positive test?
No, not that day. No.
Okay, so they didn't have a positive test. Why isn't your attorney in court arguing before the judge that my client's wife test? I mean, did you guys have a copy of the drug test from that hospital?
I guess they sent it to my lawyer that I had. I guess they sent it.
And why did your lawyer not talk about it in court?
I don't know.
Well, you got to write these notes down. You got to write these notes down. Right. You got to write these notes down and ask them, because it's very embarrassing if I'm a dependency lawyer who have gone to law school, who have passed the bar exam, and have a license to practice dependency, family, juvenile law, that I can't answer those questions, because that to me, and I know you paid a lot of money, but paying a lot of money is not the answer. You have to find an attorney that is a bulldog who's not afraid to stand up. And that's why I tell you, you need to ask the attorney, has he ever won a lawsuit, a civil lawsuit against CPS, either in state or federal court? If the answer is no, then that's not a bulldog attorney. That's an attorney who's afraid of CPS. He doesn't want to rock the boat because he'll have other cases. He wants to be friends and pals of the court. I hate court-appointed attorneys. I hate attorneys that take clients for all their money. It's wrong. It is so wrong. We live in a society today that everywhere there is wrongness happening. And it's a shame. It's a shame that professionals are more eager about their money than they are about the facts of the case or anything else there. So I'm hoping that you're taking some notes or making some mental thoughts in your head that you need to really spend some time with your attorney, because he should be helping you. And it doesn't sound like that. This is what happens if no type of investigation or assessment is done. Most families meet and talk with CPS social workers during a child protection assessment meeting with the social worker. Gives the family a chance to share their views, identify family needs, ask questions, and give feedbacks. It sounds like the CPS place in Maine is not a warm, fuzzy feeling. They're out to get you either because they want to pay back, or they want to retaliate, or they want this big money, this $1 trillion that they get per year. All the CPS entities in all the counties and all the states do $1 trillion business every year. They give bonuses to the social workers. They give incentive to the social workers. And I'm not talking $100 or $200. I'm talking thousands of dollars. And they overcharge everything for difference. So if the parents or caregivers choose not to speak with a social worker or refuse a social worker enter into the home, the assessment may continue required by law if the child is considered to be at risk of serious harm. I like to know what the serious harm. I mean, I understand that your wife's been charged with neglect, and you're charged with neglect because you didn't prevent your wife from driving safely with your child. But that is not serious harm. And why is your attorney not mention that in court? Where is the serious harm? That real key is a key buzzword. You have to find out, what is the serious harm with the children in my custody? What is the serious harm? And the CPS social worker may consider contacting the police for help or asking the court to require a family cooperation. That's where a warrant comes into place. And when you go to a warrant, warrants are usually given pretty easily. All the police and social workers do is says, we can't get in the house, can you give us a warrant? They won't talk about all the other things. And the judge will sign the legal piece of paper. But I'm telling you, you need to have your attorney fighting. If you have an attorney, he needs to do something to earn his pay. Now, will my child be taken away? This guide is saying. The CPS social worker will assist your family, providing for the safety of your children within your home, not outside of the home, within your home, whenever possible. Now, are they doing that right now? Are they providing you in your home whenever possible? If the child's, yes, nope,
Not right now.
right. And so if for the child's safety, it becomes necessary for the court to separate the family, then the person alleged to be responsible for the abuse or neglect may need to temporarily leave the home, or the child may need to live with relatives or in foster care until it's safe for the child to return home. So your wife is in California. She's left the home.
Yes.
And there's no reason, I don't understand how your attorney could not argue that in court. I think, I'm not an attorney, but I think I can argue that in any judge is in there, because I bring up those buzzwords. I'm using the guide in Maine against CPS there. This guide is very helpful, and you can do the same thing I'm doing. You can read it to your attorney. You can go to court, and he can look at theirs. Now, they're supposed to provide you with almost 10 kinds of services. They're supposed to provide you daycare, counseling for parents and children, homemakers, substance abuse treatment, family of violence programs, temporary shelters for teens, crisis service, parent education, public health nursing, help with housing and living expenses, and transportation. That's what Maine says they're supposed to help with.
Yeah, and I understand all that, and I told them that personally. But even without a lawyer, I know that.
Yeah.
And like you're saying, all the things you're saying right now, I already am aware of. But they're still pushing and pushing, and I want them to stop pushing. But everybody needs to get paid, and these lawyers all want to be paid, and they've taken all of our money. Now we're just scraping. Now I'm scraping by. I mean, as it is,
Yeah.
you had to get.
Well,
California.
if I was in your shoes, I'd say, what did you earn the $50,000 on if you've done nothing for me? What did you earn it on? You need to look at those invoices and question, how many hours of this, how many trips to the post office, how many text message. I mean, you look at those invoices, there's a lot of stuff on there that is just clutter. And it's stuff that they want to milk out of you. See, the way these attorneys are, they're good and bad ones. The reason why they want a retainer is because they don't want to be caught in a position where they're trying to fight for your case and suddenly you run out of money. So they set a retainer. They set a retainer at $20,000 to $50,000 for most cases to start out with. But as you start out with, your invoice should clearly show how that money's being spent. And then it's up to you within 30 days of the invoice to point out to the attorney or question any charges on there. But it sounds to me, if they haven't done the things that I mentioned in this guide, this guide is beautiful. It talks about the child's rights. It says, what are your rights? It says, what are your rights? You're supposed to get the nature of the child abuse or neglect in writing. You're supposed.
They've done all that.
Which
we've gotten everything in writing.
Okay.
But, they gave it to our attorney.
Right.
Our attorney
Now, what is your okay? But why is your attorney not able to fight? I mean, what's his problem?
Well, the first attorney we had for about 9 years, 10 years, His problem is now he wants his money. He says he's still willing to help, but he has to get his money. Well, you've taken all of our money. So now we've had to go to another attorney that was a little cheaper. What do they call that? You pay half the cost, kind of like a quarter point, but they're doing it pro bono type deal. So that's what I did. Instead of paying $300-400 an hour, I'm paying half, $150-200 an hour. So it's cutting that half the cost. They're making it sound so good, but the problem there is now they're really not fighting for me.
Well, that's the trouble with attorneys. I've always never liked attorneys for that reason, that they charge excessively more per hour. Yes, they deserve it. They're schooled in it. But if they're not performing, it's like a football player. If your football player is not performing and he's paid in millions of dollars, he'll be benched. He'll be benched.
Right.
And the same thing goes for your attorney. And you can sue him if the fees are mischarged or he's not doing his job. The problem is,
I get that.
Yeah, I know.
That's hard to sue. That's hard to find a lawyer who would sue another lawyer.
Well, you don't go that route. You go the route of you contact the state bar and you file a complaint. You file a complaint. Attorneys don't like that. I know a lot of attorneys don't like that. They like to have good reviews on Yelp and other kinds of networks there. They want to have good reviews. So if you make a formal complaint and it's pretty solid, they'll be investigated. Plus there'll be a bad review. You can do bad reviews and make that attorney look bad, because people do look up attorneys. They'll go to different areas to read about the attorney. That's one of the first things I do when I look for an attorney. The first thing I look for in an attorney, if it's involved in CPS, I look no further than, have they fought them in a lawsuit? Have they won in a lawsuit?
That's what I did.
That's what. Well, you said your attorney never did a lawsuit against them.
No, not this one. This is where I started now.
Right. Okay. And then the next thing you do, you look at their background. Do they have dependency law, family and juvenile dependency law? That is so important, because that is the area of expertise you're in.
That's right.
Because right now you got an agency that is very corrupt. In all 50 states, including Washington, D.C., I've encountered the CPS to be at fault. You're like Alice in Wonderland with CPS. You followed in the rabbit hole. You met that Cheshire cat. He tells you to go to this room or that room, and you go nowhere. And CPS will lie. They will lie. They're tricksters.
That's it. They take your story and they take your words and they put it in their own context and they make up things. And that's another thing in the report that I saw, that they were saying things that I didn't say. And then, they told me you take your kids from your home and place them somewhere safe with you. So I did that from day one. I've done everything pretty much to the I dot, to the T cross. I've done everything right, but you know what? They turned around and somehow it's all turned on me now. And and the thing is everything I've done right as far as the first attorney. The first attorney was a bulldog. He is good. He was doing his things, but I thought he could do more. And I thought this could have been prevented. And that's why my wife went into the stage of self-medicating, using hard drugs, because she couldn't deal with it no more. Her kids asking her from the age of 5, why aren't you protecting me? Treating her badly because you treat the ones you love, badly because that's the ones you love. You take it out on them, and it makes you feel terrible. Here she is. She can't protect her kid. She's worked, and all she's doing is giving her money to attorneys. She can't even fix her own garage. It's been raining in the garage for 3 years. I mean, we've done everything to get the right legal all the legal help. Every spot we've turned here in Maine, we can't find that lawyer to help protect our kids and get our kids back home. And now they're threatening to come to my sister's house where she's been the caregiver for the last 3 months, but my boy's been there 6. They split these brothers up, okay? And now they're telling me that we have no common law. Now that we're married, that things change, like you said before. But there was no common law, so Bryson isn't mine. This ain't my home. And I said, well, that's my son's home, Israel. He's got the same name. Oh, I'm sorry, we're not supposed to use names.
No, you are married. You are married, and that home is legally yours.
That's right. Now it is.
But you've not told the court you're married.
Yes, I didn't do that today. No.
Nope, you need to tell the court again. You need to have your attorney say this gentleman is married and he can be in that home.
Yeah, I don't know why my attorney, the attorney I just paid for, that were a quarter point. I thought that this attorney's been in the law for 20-something years. I was referred to by somebody at work. He told me how good she was, a friend. Her website says it all. She's got there's a YouTube video on her. There's things like that, and I just don't know what's going on. I don't know.
Well, showmanship is not going to win your case. I don't care how glamorous the attorney looks, how glossy their page or website is. What's going to happen is that you're going to talk to someone that used that attorney and ask them, how did they win the lawsuit, the civil lawsuit, and get millions of dollars? What was good about that attorney? That's the attorney you want. You want the bulldog.
That's what I'm looking for. But you know what? You got to pay for that. And if you don't got the money to pay for that, you're not getting it.
I know. There's another.
People like me, and the next person's going to be a victim.
Well, I had to sell my home. I sold my home. I had a couple $1 million home. I had worked 45 years for it, and I had to sell my home to hire my attorney.
That's about what I'm ready to do.
And it was terrible to sell your home, but I need the money fast, and so I did a quick sell of my home. Lost hundreds of thousands of dollars on the sale of my home. But I had to get an attorney. I found an attorney. I like what he did. I like what he said. I wish I got him in the beginning because I would never have gone and never lost my children. But
is there anybody that I could be referred to, or anybody that might watch your site that they can refer, or maybe even a lawyer that has the understanding what's going on, and maybe be able to help somebody because they have it like that.
Well, I want to tell you
what I'm looking for.
Right. I'll talk to you about that in a second. I want to tell you about the ombudsperson, man. The ombudsperson is the civil rights of your state. And they have a website in Maine. And it says that the Maine Child Welfare Services ombudsman, and it could be a woman, is an integral, impartial office that specializes in assisting people with resolving concerns and complaints with the Maine Child Protection Service Department of the Department of Health and Human Services. If you have a concern or a complaint about how Protection Services, DHHS, is handling a child's case, you can contact the ombudsman's office. They have an email and they have 2 phone numbers. Yes. The email.
I did that as well.
Yeah.
I've done that. I did the abundance. I did what you talked, the bus. I went to the United States violation. I left messages. I've looked for pro bono lawyers. Believe me, in the last 2 days, I probably have work time, 16 hours, and doing my own investigating on civil rights, state laws. I was told today, my girlfriend told me, my wife, she told me that she had agreed to some terms, and and there's going to be social workers involved now with her when she gets out of the detox place. She's there for a month. Then she comes home, and the courts and the CPS workers and all them are saying how great she did, and you can tell she's a really great woman, and this and that. But yet you're still pushing. You're still like today. I guess they got partial custody of Israel. Oh, my son. Sorry.
Right.
What? Well, how did they get partial custody? I didn't even agree to anything. I didn't even hear what they were trying to tell my lawyer today. Before I didn't plea out. I didn't say I'm not going. I'm not because I saw what they're trying to say. They're trying to say that I was neglectful. I'm not agreeing to that.
Well, you can appeal. That decision that was made to deal needs to be appealed. All your appeals have to be done within 30 days. You got to keep that in the back of your mind. Anything that has been decided against you, you need to appeal it. You need to tell your lawyer you need to appeal that. And then you got to explain to him, tell your attorney.
Okay, so I have to find a new, so I'm going to tell my attorney, but she's been hard to get in touch with. So I'm going to have to find another attorney if she don't work out. I don't know. She's just, it's after she got the first retainer, and then after this, she says, oh, I need this amount, or I'm going to have to resign from counsel. And then when she got that money, I couldn't get in contact with her again. Even the court, even the judge today told her, you have to send him that paperwork. We've tried reaching out to you multiple times, and even CPS and DHS and the courts have had a hard time getting.
Demand the retainer back. Demand the retainer. Yeah, demand the retainer back. Say, I want my retainer back. If you're not going to perform anything, I want my retainer back.
And that's probably not going to happen.
Well, you can sue them.
So if you demand a retainer back, and they say, well, no, you're out, then what do you do?
But well, they're corruption because you ask them, what have you spent my $50,000 on?
Oh, that one too, right? There's that one too.
Yeah, you have to tell them, what do you spent my $5,000 on? What have you spent my thing? I want an itemized thing there. Now, before I leave the ombudsman, because I found this phone number and email, you don't need that?
Yeah, I do want the ombudsman number, just in case I might not have the exact one you're talking about.
Okay, you got a paper and pencil? You got a paper and pencil?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, it's here's the first phone number, 866 621 0758.
0758.
The second one, it's 207 213. Yeah, 213 4773.
Yep.
Now, the email. You ready for the email?
Hold on. I need a bigger piece of paper. I got so many notes that you're one now.
I should tell you about my rule number 2. Get a notebook, 8.5 by 11. Stuff it full of college rule notebook paper, and then get subject dividers and divide all your paperwork as one place. And you need something big enough you can write on.
Bam. Yep. Email. Okay.
It's OM BUD SMAN at CWOMB.
CWOMB?
Yeah, that's C as in Charlie.
Yep.
WOMB, then UDSAMAN.
Yep.
Then you want to do .org.
.org. Okay.
And if I was you, I'd send them an email, and then I would call both those numbers multiple times every day. They're going to get tired of you. But people that you want to get through, you call them. Now, I called the Capitol the other day because I wanted to speak to Senator Schaefer of New York. because I wanted some help on a case in New York and in Richmond, Kentucky. Somehow I got a good number for the Capitol building because I spoke to the operator there. She said, "How can I help you?" I said, "I want to get a hold of a senator." She gave me the number, and I called that senator. Of course, that senator didn't return my call until after I had to call 3 or 4 times. People are the worst people to return phone calls. They really are.
Yeah. And another thing, now after this, now they were upset that I didn't agree. They really thought that I was going to agree with the terms as Crystal did. Okay? I'm sorry, I'm not supposed to use names. Now, my attorney says, yeah, you're right, Israel. You're right. You shouldn't, I agree with you. If you sit there and agree with what they've said, then you're kind of admitting at fault. And now what happens when you do that? Now, say my wife gets out and she has a meltdown or a breakdown again. Guess what happens to me next time? It makes it worse. Okay? So, and I know these things, but I need to find an attorney, or I want my attorneys to basically, go furthermore with what's happened through the 10 years, what they have done. Like I said, they were there the morning my kids' birth. They've been in our lives since the 14-year-old was 5. This is a mess. We got proof of real neglect, real assault, real domestic charges filed. Another child taken out of his home for abuse. Besides, now they're not making our kid. And my wife, by her, she protected our my stepson, from going with him by agreeing to giving up custody at the time, okay, to a school teacher, so we knew he was in a safe place. Now he grew up with this teacher when he was little. Now she's a high school teacher. She's a great woman, and I know he's in a great place, okay? So that I'm happy for. My son, he's in a great place, but now they're retaliating again, because now they're telling my sister and her husband that they want to go there to look over the house. They want to go there tonight at 8 o'clock. My sister says, I can't. She goes, I'm running around because my son, she has him doing soccer, and I have him do football. He does soccer where she is, and he does football here because his residency is here. But I guess my wife, I'm being told, signed over partial custody of our son. Well, I didn't do that. We were both on a question in court on our son together alone. We didn't have that together, so I wasn't aware of this. I just found this out tonight from my sister. My sister's telling me now, tomorrow morning, they're going to her home to look over the home to see where my son has been staying, if it's a stable and good environment and where he can stay. Now, they have to take a fostering class to pass, her and her husband. Now, granted, they've done great, but this has also put stress on their life. But you know what? Now I know that it's over the time, it's healed them. And now they're willing to do what's best for my son, because they don't want my son to go into state custody. But now it's partial custody. Okay, they didn't tell us that at the end of court today. She just found this out tonight. Now, the guardian ad litem, she talks to my sister. Okay, and my sister's thinking these guys are all out doing great. That you got to listen to them. You got to do this. I told her. I said you should have a lawyer there present at the time. She goes, Israel, if I do that, they're gonna say we're not cooperating and we're not agreeing with the terms of allowing Israel here, and they're gonna take them. And I said, they're gonna take them anyway. That's what I feel is gonna happen. They want to go there tonight because they want to retaliate against me because I didn't agree to the terms. Okay, and furthermore, I didn't even realize what had happened. And my lawyer she hasn't helped the case any, and she even frustrated the judge.
Yeah.
And so now I need somebody to give my sister a legal consultation. I need someone to give my wife legal consultation and myself, because we're being manipulated and they're lying.
Well,
and making up
the
their
problem
things
is if she's your wife, you and her got to be on the same page. If she's making deals behind your back or not working together, CPS loves that. CPS wants you because you're aggressive and you probably know the law better than they were hoping you didn't. CPS.
Well, that's because I grew up in the law at a young age, but I grew up from that.
Well, CPS is hope to get.
Well, the last 15 years, and they're throwing my past in my face because
CPS.
of who I was when I was 16 to 20.
Okay, CPS is corrupt. I don't know how much more I have to tell you that. And they're going to hope to take advantage of people that use court-appointed attorneys or use attorneys that are dodos, and I'm sorry to put down attorneys out there. And I would like to finish my program tonight with about my attorney because I need to put a little spiel about him. He talked at the beginning of my podcast, and this Saturday, he is doing a 1-hour question and answer on Zoom about techniques of how to fight your CPS case. He also has a special deal with me. And I'm going to put that. He will do a discounted private Zoom consultation with you for up to 30 minutes for $60. That's the arrangement I've made. And if you can afford $60, I would talk to him. But I would try to condense in your 30 minutes all the questions because he can't talk to you like I can for an hour. And what you do, all you listeners out there, if you want to hear an attorney who has been fighting CPS for 35 years, is a trial attorney, does fight in other states. He has a case in Oklahoma. He has a case in Northern California. He has several cases in Southern California. He's out of Arcadia. And
that's where she is.
And so he will do the only thing that he's going to ask, if you're going to go out of state, the only additional expenses he's going to have is his per diem for his transportation, ground and air, and for his accommodation and food. Those are only additional expenses. Now, this attorney would do a Zoom consultation to anybody listening right now. All you need to do is go to the website, https://candidly.com/apps, APPTS/VWD/Bob Pace. And you just pay with your credit card, and that is there. Okay, so
Saturday morning, you said?
Yeah, Saturday morning. Well, no, this is okay. That's something different. Saturday morning is a Zoom meeting you could go to and do questions and answers. I'm talking about a private consultation with a professional attorney with 35 years of fighting CPS, and he's also done lawsuits and won millions of dollars, both in state and federal court. People in Bakersfield, California don't like him to come to their city. People around the country don't like him because he's the best. But I'm not telling you to go out and hire him. You can talk to him about his retainer, about hiring him, but it'd be well worth the $60. It took me about a year for me to get him on board, and I wish I'd take him right away because I tried to do it myself, fighting myself, and I used court-appointed attorneys. But I want to thank him, by the way, Mr. Davis, for what you do. He does live podcasts and stuff like that. That same ad's going to play in just a few minutes. I got to end my podcast, and I want to tell everybody, Natalie, thank you for coming to my room. Christina Reynoso, thank you for the nice thumbs up. And I want to thank all my listeners. Keep fighting for your case, and I'll see you tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock.
Hi, I'm attorney Vincent Davis, and I've been fighting CPS for over 35 years. Through my years of experience, I've gained invaluable insights that I'm ready to share with you. If you're a parent or a caregiver or a relative, we need to talk. I'm offering a new opportunity for you to speak with me on a one-on-one basis. Ask me any questions, and I'll provide you with the insight you need to take steps in your CPS case. Members get everything they need to gain confidence and the knowledge that they need to support necessary to truly fight back. And as a special thank you for attending, I have a special offer just for you. Don't miss out. Join us, and let's take that next step together. I'll see you at the question and answer event.